Berekuet Adonai Amvarak, Barak Adonai Amavarak Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Melech Haolam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol, Amin Vinatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Bless Adonai, who is to be blessed. Blessed is Adonai, who is to be blessed forever and ever. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who chose us from all the peoples and gave to us his Torah. Blessed are you, Lord, giver of Torah. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, This shall be the ritual for a leper at the time of being purified. When it has been reported to the priest shall go outside the camp. If the priest sees that the leper has been healed of the scaly affection, the priest shall order 2 live pure birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, and hyssop to be brought for the one to be purified. The priest shall order one of the birds slaughtered over fresh water in an earthen vessel. And he shall take the live bird, along with the cedar wood, the crimson stuff, and the hyssop, and dip them together with the live bird in the blood of the bird that was slaughtered over the fresh water. He shall then sprinkle it 7 times on the one to be purified of the eruption and effect the purification, and he shall set the live bird free in the open country. The one to be purified shall wash those clothes, shave off all hair, and bathe in water, and then shall be pure. After that, the camp may be entered, but one must remain outside one's tent 7 days. On the 7th day, all hair shall be shaved off of head, beard if any, and eyebrows. Having shaved off all hair, the person shall wash those clothes and bathe the body in water, and then shall be pure. On the 8th day, that person shall take 2 male lambs without blemish, 1 ewe lamb in its first year without blemish, 3/10 of a measure of choice flour with oil mixed in for a meal offering, and 1 log of oil. These shall be presented before Adonai with the party to be purified at the entrance of the tent of meeting by the priest who performs the purification. The priest shall take one of the male lambs and offer it with the log of oil as a guilt offering, and he shall elevate them as an elevation offering before Adonai. The lamb shall be slaughtered at the spot in the sacred area where the sin offering and the burnt offering are slaughtered. For the guilt offering, like the sin offering, goes to the priest. It is most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the guilt offering, and the priest shall put it on the ridge of the right ear of the one who is being purified, and on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot. The priest shall then take some of the log of oil and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in the palm of his left hand, and sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before Adonai. Some of the oil left in his palm shall be put by the priest on the ridge of the right ear of the one being purified, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot, over the blood of the guilt offering. The rest of the oil in his palm the priest shall put on the head of the one being purified. Thus the priest shall make expiation for that person before Adonai. The priest shall then offer the sin offering and make expiation for the one being purified of defilement. Last, the burnt offering shall be slaughtered, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meal offering on the altar. The priest shall make expiation for that person, who shall then be pure. If, however, one is poor and without sufficient means, that person shall take 1 male lamb for a guilt offering, to be elevated in expiation, 1/10 of a measure of choice flour with oil mixed in for a meal offering, and a log of oil. and the 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, depending on that person's means, the one to be the sin offering and the other the burnt offering. On the 8th day of purification, the person shall bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting before Adonai. The priest shall take the lamb of guilt offering and the log of oil, and elevate them as an elevation offering before Adonai. When the lamb of guilt offering has been slaughtered, the priest shall take some of the blood of the guilt offering and put it on the ridge of the right ear of the one being purified, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot. The priest shall then pour some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and with the finger of his right hand, the priest shall sprinkle some of the oil that is in the palm of his left hand 7 times before Adonai. Some of the oil in his palm shall be put by the priest on the ridge of the right ear of the one being purified, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot, over the same places as the blood of the guilt offering. And what is left of the oil in his palm, the priest shall put on the head of the one being purified, to make expiation for that person before Adonai. The person shall then offer one of the turtle doves or pigeons, depending on the person's means, whichever that person can afford, the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, together with the meal offering. Thus the priest shall make expiation before Adonai for the one being purified. Such is a ritual for one who has a scaly affection and whose means for purification are limited. Adonai spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, When you enter the land of Canaan that I give you as a possession, and I inflict an eruptive plague upon a house in the land you possess, the owner of the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, Something like a plague has appeared upon my house. The priest shall order the house cleared before the priest enters to examine the plague, so that nothing in the house may become impure. After that, the priest shall enter to examine the house. If, when he examines the plague in the walls of the house is found to consist of greenish or reddish streaks that appear to go deep into the wall, the priest shall come out of the house to the entrance of the house and close up the house for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest shall return. If he sees that the plague has spread on the walls of the house, the priest shall order the stones with the plague in them to be pulled out and cast outside the city into an impure place. The house shall be scraped inside all around, and the coating that is scraped off shall be dumped outside the city in an impure place. They shall take other stones and replace those stones with them, and take other coating and plaster the house. If the plague again breaks out in the house, after the stones have been pulled out and after the house has been scraped and replastered, the priest shall come to examine. If the plague has spread in the house, it is a malignant eruption in the house, it is impure. The house shall be torn down, its stones and timber and all the coating on the house, and taken to an impure place outside the city. Whoever enters the house while it is closed up shall be impure until evening. Whoever sleeps in the house must wash those clothes, and whoever eats in the house must wash those clothes. If, however, the priest comes and sees that the plague has not spread in the house after the house was replastered, the priest shall pronounce the house pure, for the plague has healed. To purge the house, he shall take 2 birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, and hyssop. He shall slaughter the one bird over fresh water in an earthen vessel. He shall take the cedar wood, the hyssop, the crimson stuff, and the live bird, and dip them in the blood of the slaughtered bird and the fresh water, and sprinkle on the house 7 times. Having purged the house with the blood of the bird, the fresh water, the live bird, the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the crimson stuff, he shall set the live bird free outside the city in the open country. Thus he shall make expiation for the house, and it shall be pure. Such is the ritual for every eruption, affection, for scars, for an eruption on a cloth or a house, for swellings, for rashes, or for discolorations, to determine when they are impure and when they are pure. Such is the ritual concerning eruptions. Adonai spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, When any man has a discharge issuing from his member, he is impure. The impurity from his discharge shall mean the following: whether his member runs with the discharge or is stopped up so that there is no discharge, his impurity means this: any bedding on which the one with the discharge lies shall be impure, and every object on which he sits shall be impure. Those persons who touch his bedding shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. Those who sit on an object on which the one with the discharge has sat shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. Those who touch the body of the one with the discharge shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. If the one with a discharge spits on someone who is pure, the latter shall wash those clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. Any means for ridding that the one with a discharge has mounted shall be impure. All those who touch anything that was under him shall be impure until evening, and all those who carry such things shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. All those whom the one with a discharge touches, without having rinsed his hands in water, shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. An earthen vessel that the one with a discharge touches shall be broken, and any wooden implement shall be rinsed with water. When the one with a discharge becomes purified of his discharge, he shall count off 7 days for his purification, wash those clothes, and bathe his body in fresh water, then he shall be pure. On the 8th day he shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, and come before Adonai at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and give them to the priest. The priest shall offer them, the one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering. Thus the priest shall make expiation on his behalf for his discharge before Adonai. When a man has an emission of semen, he shall bathe his whole body in water and remain impure until evening. All cloth or leather on which semen falls shall be washed in water and remain impure until evening. Likewise, for a woman, when a man has carnal relations with her, both shall bathe in water and remain impure until evening. When a woman has a discharge, her discharge being blood from her body, she shall remain in her menstrual separation 7 days. Whoever touches her shall be impure until evening. Anything that she lies on during her menstrual separation shall be impure, and anything that she sits on shall be impure. All those who touch her bedding shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. And all those who touch any object on which she has sat shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. Be it the bedding or be it the object on which she has sat, on touching it, one shall be impure until evening. And if a man lies with her, her menstrual separation applies to him, he shall be impure 7 days, and any bedding on which he lies shall become impure. When a woman has had a discharge of blood for many days, not at the time of her menstrual separation, or when she has a discharge beyond her period of menstrual separation, she shall be impure, as though at the time of her menstrual separation, as long as her discharge lasts. Any bedding on which she lies while her discharge lasts shall be for her like bedding during her menstrual separation, and any object on which she sits shall become impure, as it does during her menstrual separation. All those who touch them shall be impure, and shall wash their clothes, bathe in water, and remain impure until evening. When she becomes purified of her discharge, she shall count off 7 days, and after that shall be pure. On the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, and bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest shall offer the one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering, and the priest shall make expiation on her behalf for her impure discharge before Adonai. You shall put the Israelites on guard against their impurity, lest they die through their impurity by defiling my tabernacle which is among them. Such is the ritual concerning one who has a discharge, concerning him who has an emission of semen and becomes impure thereby, and concerning her whose condition is that of menstrual separation, and concerning anyone, male or female, who has a discharge, and concerning a man who lies with an impure woman. Blessings after the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torato, Torat emet, v'chayai olam nata bitochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha-Torah. Blessings after the Torah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth and set everlasting life in our midst. Blessed are you, Lord, giver of the Torah. Blessings before the Haftorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar binviim tovim v'ratza v'devarim aneemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai aboker batorah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Israel amo uninvei haemet va'zedek. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has chosen good prophets and was pleased with their words that were uttered with truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, who chooses the Torah and Moses, God's servant, and Israel, God's people, and the prophets of truth and righteousness. Then the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem shall be pleasing to God, as in the days of yore and in the years of old. But first I will step forward to contend against you, and I will act as a relentless accuser against those who have no fear of me, who practice sorcery, who commit adultery, who swear falsely, who cheat laborers of their hire, and who subvert the cause of the widow, orphan, and stranger, said God of hosts. For I am God, I have not changed, and you are the children of Jacob, you have not ceased to be. From the very days of your ancestors, you have turned away from my laws and have not observed them. Turn back to me, and I will turn back to you, said God of hosts. But you ask, how shall we turn back? Ought mortals to defraud God? Yet you are defrauding me. And you ask, how have we been defrauding you? In tithe and contribution. You are suffering under a curse, yet you go on defrauding me, the whole nation of you. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, and let there be food in my house, and thus put me to the test, said God of hosts. I will surely open the floodgates of the sky for you, and pour down blessings on you. And I will banish the locust from you, so that they will not destroy the yield of your soil, and your vines in the field shall no longer miscarry, said God of hosts. And all the nations shall account you happy, for you shall be the most desired of lands, said God of hosts. You have spoken hard words against me, said God. But you ask, what have we been saying among ourselves against you? You have said, it is useless to serve God. What have we gained by keeping God's charge and walking in abject awe of God of hosts? And so we account the arrogant happy. They have indeed done evil and endured. They have indeed dared God and escaped. In this vein, have those who revere God been talking to one another? God has heard and noted it, and a scroll of remembrance has been written at God's behest concerning those who revere God and esteem the holy name. And on the day that I am preparing, said God of hosts, they shall be my treasured possession. I will be tender toward them as a man is tender toward a son who ministers to him. And you shall come to see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between those who have served God and those who have not. For lo, that day is at hand, burning like an oven. All the arrogant and all the doers of evil shall be straw, and the day that is coming, said God of hosts, shall burn them to ashes and leave of them neither stock nor boughs. But for you who revere my name, a son of victory shall rise to bring healing. You shall go forth and stamp like star-fed calves, and you shall trample the wicked to a pulp, for they shall be dust beneath your feet on the day that I am preparing, said God of hosts. Be mindful of the teaching of my servant Moses, whom I charged at Horeb with laws and rules for all Israel. Lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of God. Blessings after the Haftorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zer kol haolamim zadik vekol adoret ahel הנאמן האומר ועושה עם דבר חיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה אדוני אלוהינו ונאמנים דבריך ודבר אחד מדבריך אחור לא ישב רחם כי אל מלך נאמן ורחמם אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, rock of all eternities, righteous in all generations, the faithful God who says and does, who speaks and fulfills, all of whose words are true. Faithful are you, Lord our God, and faithful are your words. Not one of your words turns back unfulfilled, for you, O God, are a faithful and compassionate King. Blessed are you, Lord, the God who is faithful in all his words. And Adonai said to Moses, write down these commandments, for in accordance with these commandments I make a covenant with you and with Israel. And he was there with Adonai 40 days and 40 nights. He ate no bread and drank no water. And he wrote down on the tablets the terms of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and as Moses came down from the mountain, bearing the 2 tablets of the pact, Moses was not aware that the skin of his face was radiant, since he had spoken with God. Aaron and all the Israelites saw that the skin of Moses' face was radiant, and they shrank from coming near him. But Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the chieftains in the assembly returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelites came near and instructed them concerning all that Adonai had imparted to him on Mount Sinai. And when Moses had finished speaking with them, he put a veil over his face. Whenever Moses went in before Adonai to converse, he would leave the veil off until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, the Israelites would see how radiant the skin of Moses' face was. Moses would then put the veil back over his face until he went in to speak with God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et torato, torat emet, v'chayai olam nata bitochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten. HaTorah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth and set everlasting life in our midst. Blessed are you, Lord, giver of the Torah. Blessings before the Haftorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'devarim aneemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai aboker batorah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Israel amo uninvei haemet va'zedek. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has chosen good prophets and was pleased with their words that were uttered with truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, who chooses the Torah and Moses, God's servant, and Israel, God's people, and the prophets of truth and righteousness. Ahab sent orders to all the Israelites and gathered the prophets at Mount Carmel. Elijah approached all the people and said, "How long will you keep hopping between two opinions? If the Eternal is God, then follow the Eternal. And if Baal, follow Baal." But the people answered him not a word. Then Elijah said to the people, "I am the only prophet of God left, while the prophets of Baal number 450. Let 2 young bulls be given to us. Let them choose one bull, cut it up, and lay it on the wood, but let them not apply the fire. I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood, and will not apply fire. You will then invoke your God by name, and I will invoke God by name. And let us agree, the God who responds with fire, that one is God." And all the people answered, "Very good." Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose one bull and prepare it first, for you are the majority. Invoke your God by name, but apply no fire." They took the bull that was given them, they prepared it, and invoked Baal by name from morning until noon, shouting, "O Baal, answer us!" But there was no sound, and no one who responded. So they performed a hopping dance about the altar that had been set up. When noon came, Elijah mocked them, saying, "Shout louder! After all, he's a god. But he may be in a conversation. He may be detained. Or he may be on a journey. Or perhaps he's asleep and will wake up." So they shouted louder and gashed themselves with knives and spears according to their practice, until the blood streamed over them. When noon passed, they kept raving until the hour of presenting the grain offering. Still there was no sound, and no one who responded or heeded. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come closer to me." And all the people came closer to him. He repaired the damaged altar of God. Then Elijah took 12 stones, corresponding to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of God had come, "Israel shall be your name." And with the stones he built an altar in the name of God. Around the altar he made a trench large enough for 2 seahs of seed. He laid out the wood, and he cut up the bull and laid it on the wood. And he said, "Fill 4 jars with water and pour it over the burnt offering and the wood." Then he said, "Do it a second time." And they did it a second time. "Do it a third time," he said, and they did it a third time. The water ran down around the altar, and even the trench was filled with water. When it was time to present the grain offering, the prophet Elijah came forward and said, "O Eternal One, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your bidding. Answer me, O Eternal One, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Eternal One, are God, for you have turned their hearts backward. Then fire from God descended and consumed the burnt offering, the wood, the stones, and the earth, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. When they saw this, all the people flung themselves on their faces and cried out, "The Eternal One alone is God. The Eternal One alone is God." Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zer kol haolamim zadik, vekol adoret ahel הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר חיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך אחור לא ישב, רחם כי אל מלך נאמן, ורחמם אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, rock of all eternities, righteous in all generations, the faithful God who says and does, who speaks and fulfills, all of whose words are true. Faithful are you, Lord our God, and faithful are your words. Not one of your words turns back unfulfilled, for you, O God, are a faithful and compassionate King. Blessed are you, Lord, the God who is faithful in all his words.